Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel PharmCon tutorial. In today's lecture we will discuss about drugs acting on uterus. So let's get started. Drugs acting on uterus are categorized into two: uterine stimulants and uterine relaxants. These uterine stimulants are otherwise called as oxytocics or ecbolics, and uterine relaxants are otherwise called as tocolytics. So uterine stimulants include oxytocin, ergot derivatives and prostaglandins. These uterine relaxants or tocolytics include beta-adrenergic agonist, magnesium sulfate, calcium channel blockers, oxytocin receptor antagonist, prostaglandin synthesis inhibitors, ethanol and progesterone. Now first let us have discussion about the oxytocics. So these oxytocics are the drugs that have the power to stimulate the contraction of uterine muscles. Use of these oxytocic drugs for the treatment of PPH, that is the postpartum hemorrhage, is one of the enduring achievement of our modern science. Now here let us see the synthesis, storage and action of the oxytocin. So oxytocin is a nonapeptide hormone which is synthesized in the hypothalamus along with ADH, that is the antidiuretic hormone, and they are stored in the neurohypophysis. It is synthesized in the supraoptic and the paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. These oxytocins are transported along the axons and stored in the neurohypophysis. The secretion of this oxytocin occurs by the sensory stimulations, that is mainly by the parturition, suckling and coitus. This oxytocin has action on this pregnant uterus as well as on the myoepithelial cells of the female breast. They causes contraction of the pregnant uterus and causes contraction of the myoepithelial cells of the female breast, thus leading to the milk ejection. Now about the mechanism of action of oxytocin. This oxytocin binds to the specific G protein coupled receptors on the myometrium. This leads to the generation of the secondary messenger, that is the IP3, that is inositol triphosphate, which causes the release of calcium from the intracellular stores, and it also increases the production of prostaglandins by the endometrium. This calcium release from the intracellular store will lead to the contraction of the pregnant uterus. Now let's discuss the pharmacological actions. So first of all, in the uterus, this oxytocin will stimulate the contraction of the pregnant uterus, but in non-pregnant uterus, this oxytocin they are resistant to oxytocin, so there is no contraction in the non-pregnant uterus. At low dose of oxytocin, there is a period of complete relaxation between two successive uterine contractions, and this will allow refilling of the placental blood vessel by the maternal arterial blood, and thus will prevent the fetal asphyxia. But in case of higher doses of oxytocin will cause sustained uterine contraction, and that will interfere with the blood flow through the placenta and causes fetal distress, and it may lead to asphyxial injury to the baby. In breast, oxytocin contracts the myoepithelial cells of the female breast and causes milk ejection. Again, vasodilation and transient hypoxia is seen with higher doses of oxytocin, and which will cause reflex tachycardia and flushing. In kidney, at higher doses of oxytocin will show ADH-like action and causes decreased urine output that may lead to sodium and water retention. Moving on to the therapeutic uses of oxytocin. The main use of this oxytocin is to induction of labor. And for this, this synthetic oxytocin, that is syntocinon, is given as IV infusion. And why we prefer this oxytocin over other drugs to induce the labor is because it has short plasma T-half. That is, the intensity of action can be controlled by slow IV infusion, and the action can be terminated quickly by stopping the drip. Secondly, this oxytocin can be used in uterine inertia. that is to augment the hypotonic inertia following the rupture of the membranes after exclusion of cephalopelvic disproportion. And finally, they can be used for the prevention as well as treatment of postpartum hemorrhage. And about the adverse drug reactions of oxytocin. First of all, as discussed earlier, they causes hyperstimulation, that is overdosage of the oxytocin will cause strong uterine contractions and may even rupture the uterus. Secondly, it may cause fetal hypoxia or fetal death at larger doses or prolonged use, and even it causes water intoxication due to ADH-like action, that is with the prolonged IV infusion. Moving on to the next category of oxytocics, that is the ergo derivatives. Ergometrin and methyl ergometrin are the two types of drugs coming under this. This ergometrin is an alkaloid obtained from the ergot, that is a fungus Claviceps purpura, which is mainly grown on the rye plant. This methyl ergometrin is a semisynthetic derivative obtained from the lysergic acid. Both these drugs can be either administered parenterally or orally, and these drugs are used in the postpartum hemorrhage, mainly in the prevention and treatment of the postpartum hemorrhage, and also for prophylaxis, that is they are usually given after the delivery of the anterior shoulder or after the placental expulsion. Mainly this methyl ergometrin is preferred over ergometrin because it is more potent. These drugs are used to prevent the uterine atony after the cesarean section and also controls the bleeding. These drugs when used orally will hasten the involution of the uterus when it is delayed. Nausea, vomiting, rise in blood pressure especially in the hypertensive patients, and prolonged use may cause gangrene of the fingers and toes due to vasoconstrictive effects. They may interfere also with the lactation. And again, these ergo derivatives are contraindicated in cardiac diseases and in eclampsia, that is the pregnant BP. Now let's talk about the prostaglandins. Prostaglandin F2 alpha and prostaglandin E2 have role in obstetrics. They are used in midterm abortion, missed abortion and molar pregnancy. And unlike this oxytocin, prostaglandins contract the uterine smooth muscle throughout the pregnancy. But as we have discussed earlier, oxytocin will contract the uterus only at the later period. So these prostaglandins can be used in the first, second and third trimester. In the first trimester, Gemprost and Dinoprostone is used intravaginally to soften the cervix before operative procedures. In the second trimester, Dinoprostone, Dinoprost are used in the midterm abortion, and they will increase the uterine contractions and soften the cervix. And in the third trimester, induction of labor. And the advantages of this prostaglandin is that they will not cause the sodium water retention and have fewer side effects. And this PGE2 will do the cervical priming, that is it promotes the ripening of the cervix and makes the cervix favorable for the induction facilitation of the labor. And finally, they can be also used for the postpartum hemorrhage. These prostaglandins will increase the tone as well as the amplitude of the uterine contraction. Nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, bronchospasm and flushing are seen associated with the prostaglandins. Now let's discuss about the uterine relaxants or the tocolytics. These tocolytics are the drugs that will inhibit the uterine contractions, and so they are used to delay the preterm labor, used in the treatment of threatened abortion and for dysmenorrhea. So the class of drugs coming under this tocolytics, the first one is the beta adrenergic agonist. Mainly this selective beta 2 agonists like isosuprene, then salbutamol, terbutaline, etc. are used. During acute phase, they are administered by IV infusion, and for prophylactic therapy, they are given orally. They have some side effects like tachycardia, palpitation, and they are contraindicated in patients with hypertension and ischemic heart disease. The second class of drugs coming under this is the magnesium sulfate, which is given by IV infusion. and they have a depressant action on the uterine smooth muscle. It is used to control the convulsions and between toxemia of pregnancy, and the side effects are hypotension, hypothermia, cardiac arrhythmia, etc. The next category is the calcium channel blockers, and the drug of choice is the nifedipine, which act by inhibiting the influx of calcium ions into the myometrial cells. Mainly this nifedipine is given orally as tocolytics. The next category is the prostaglandin synthesis inhibitors. Mainly this NSAIDs like indomethacin, then ibuprofen, mefenamic acid, aspirin, etc. are used as tocolytic. And these drugs will inhibit the prostaglandin synthesis. Prostaglandin synthesis inhibitors are mainly used for relief of dysmenorrhea. The next category is the progesterone. It has a relaxing effect on the uterus, and mainly these progestins are used in the treatment of threatened abortion. And finally, oxytocin receptor antagonist, the atosiban, which is given as IV infusion. It will competitively block the oxytocin receptor of the uterus and induces uterine relaxation. The side effects are nausea, vomiting, hypotension, headache, and skin rashes.